And then back to Iguodala to the rim. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere, skies to the rim. Oh, Boyd took the advantage and played on from inside the center square. Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the center. Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup. He scores! Hands right back up. Big head kick. Down goes Thompson. It's over.
Live it, breathe it, love it. All sports, double coverage.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We are live. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sports. I'm your boy Dom with the great man Saucy. What's happening, mate?
What is going on, Domma? We are back with another massive episode of Double Coverage. Obviously talking about the NBA Finals. Your team, my team, the Lakers, the Miami Heat. We called it. We wanted it from the start, and we got what we wanted.
I can't believe we actually got what we
That's
wanted,
exactly
mate.
right. I actually can't believe it.
We got a lot. We got a lot in store. We got obviously our opening segment. We will do our finals preview. Then we will discuss a bit about some news that came out of the NBA circles last night with Doc Rivers. Then we will get into news around the world. We've got some AFL. We're just going to give you an update. We are doing a special pod, so there won't be much there. It's just to tell you when it will be airing. Got F1 news. It was back on this week. It was electric. It was good. UFC, man, the last style bender, bro, did not disappoint in his fight. Got EPL. We had some upsets in the EPL, some controversy in the EPL as well. And then into the NFL, massive week. We had some big head-to-head games go ahead. Saucy will get into his tips. He is not happy about one team. He's going to lose it on one team. And I cannot wait for him to lose it on this team. Following that, Hobby Talk. Man, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about in Hobby Talk. Something that's come out. We got Luke of the Don, baby. We're gonna be. We got a lot to talk about, and then Sauceys Smokey to end the show, mate. The most anticipated segment of the afternoon. Well, we're live, mate. First up, it's good to go live. We have fixed our issues that we did have during the weekend,
Which is good, Domma. You know, you live and you learn.
You live and you learn.
You make the mistake once, but you don't make the mistake twice. And we're here live. So this is something we're going to try to do, ladies and gents. Try to go live with our podcast. If people want to join in, send us a few questions, talk shit on the YouTube chat. That's what we love to see. So, yeah, definitely don't
Let's
be
get stuck
scared
into
to
it,
jump
man.
in with your opinions if you disagree with something we say.
Which
Most likely you do.
I disagree, but no. Let's get straight into it, man. We got game one tomorrow morning. Let's just set the tail of the tape, mate. Lakers 4-1 each series, 12-3. Miami 4-0, 4-1, 4-2, 12-3 in the playoffs. We're going in on equal record. Man, it's exciting. We did do a live after the game, after the Miami one, and we did get into it a bit, but there's a few things like that have to be, I don't know, talked about, man. Like, can the Lakers stop Robinson and Hero shooting? And obviously, the impactful nature that Dragic had in the last series, is he going to be able to continue that into this series? So there's a lot to discuss, man. A lot to break down there. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
My thoughts, Lakers in 6, baby. Lakers in
Oh.
6. Let's go. Let's go, Lake Show. Now, honestly, Domma, I'm happy both our teams are through. We wanted it from the beginning, so to actually have it, and we're like, your team, my team, it's exciting stuff. I think it's going to be a tough series, you know. Miami has been able to trouble teams all along. You know, they've obviously gotten hot at the right time of the season. They were able to put some games together and then crush through Indiana, upset the Milwaukee Bucks, and Boston. Not for anything. They just weren't up to it. They were able to jump them out the blocks, get that 2-0 lead, and they didn't look back from there. So they closed it out. They closed it out in 6,
Yeah,
which is good. At the end of the day, they've played the same amount of games as the Lakers. So I mean, it
exactly.
couldn't literally be, no teams had more or less rest in a sense. You look at it
Yeah,
that way.
100%.
So yeah, it's an even matchup, and I'm excited. I'm really, really, really looking forward to. This is the matchup I'm looking forward to. Don't worry about LeBron, and you got LeBron against Iguodala, Jimmy buckets, right? Don't worry about that. I'm
You could tell.
I'm looking for AD against Bam Adebayo,
Oh
one of the
yeah, this
young
will be
and
good.
up and coming stars of the league potentially. Uh, what is he, Domma? I think he's only 21, right?
I think 21. I think his
21.
third season, second
So
season, or something. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how he goes against Anthony Davis. We know how well he moves his feet on defense. He's got the size to trouble Davis. So maybe that's a good matchup. We don't know. I think the Lakers need to keep doing what they've done previously, which is attack the paint. I mean, if in games where those games you lost to Boston, they attacked the paint real well. One game they got 68 points in the paint, and another game they got like above 45 points in the paint. I think the Lakers can. That's what they need to do. They need to attack the paint. They need to force pressure, force Bam Adebayo to challenge at the ring and potentially put him into foul trouble, and force your other bigs in there because not for anything. As much as Kelly Olynyk can spread the floor,
yeah,
he stinks at the rim and challenging.
yeah,
And if you
he's
get
gonna
him matched
struggle.
up against Anthony Davis, that is barbecue chicken. Let me tell you right there in
Even
Dallas.
Dwight Howard, man. If Dwight Howard comes out with the same intensity as he had in the last series, it's gonna be hard to stop guys like that. Seeing as we only have one perennial big man in the team,
And I
like,
think that's where we've got to look.
and
Your
to be
outside
honest,
shooting has proven
yeah,
that it can be hot and cold. Don't get me wrong, Doma. When your team is on, they are on. They literally don't miss. That guy, Douglas Robertson, he is lights out when he gets going. Hero as well. You know how much I love him. My love for Tyler Hero and what he's been able to do in his first
he's
season.
your boy,
Um,
your boy.
but I think that's where it sits with us. Being able to obviously limit your perimeter and
Well,
get
Lakers
inside.
Lakers are averaging 40.7 points per game in the restricted area, which is the paint. Um, there could be a bit of bully ball, and as we saw in the last series, Boston's bigs aren't as good as what your bigs are, and we did struggle to contain them in the paint a fair bit. They had 60 on us in one game, 38 in another game. I think they had 48 or 50 in another game. So yeah, that's my biggest concern. I said it in our live that we did post game. I genuinely reckon they're going to come out. Your boys are going to come out and just destroy us in game one, like embarrass us, and then it'll be a readjustment. I reckon we could lose by probably anywhere from 12 to 20 points in game one. It sounds like a pessimistic view. I think the Lakers are going to come out fired up. They know what's at stake, and they want to set the tone early for the series. Yeah, they don't want to give us a look in, because if you give us a look in, they know the threat that we can
Yeah,
be. So I just reckon they're going to come out hard, man, and just try and bury us early,
yeah.
really early. Another interesting thing is I've been seeing a lot of stuff. I'm gonna clear it up right now. I'm here to clear it up. The two I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about the two best LeBron stoppers are in the one team. No, the best. There's only one. Buckets. That's it. The second one is not a LeBron stopper. Let me. You called him a LeBron stopper when he won Finals MVP in 2015. I'll tell you what. You could call me a LeBron stopper because if I guarded him and I let him have average 36, 14, and 10, and 9 assists in a series, that ain't no stopper. That's bleeding points, mate. The guy almost averaged 40 on you, and you're telling me that he's a LeBron stopper. Don't give me that shit. I could guard him, and he could average 60 on me, LeBron, and then I'm a stopper. What? Come on, man. The only reason he got that Finals MVP is because the series was terrible in terms of like Steph and Clay played horrendous.
They didn't play that good.
They played horrendous. It should have gone to LeBron in a losing final series because he only had Matty Dellavedova on his team. He was stuck on a bloody IV drip after every game because legit he was. It should have gone to LeBron. So there's only one. I'm clarifying it. One LeBron stopper. Jimmy buckets. That's it. All right. Don't want to hear any more on that shit. But your predictions for the series, mate.
Look,
you said Lakers in 5. So what's
I
the
said
call?
Lakers in 6. Thank you. I gave you 2 games.
Oh, that's nice.
But as I said, Domma, it didn't. I was confident once we got through the West here. I was confident whoever was coming out of the East, regardless who it was, we were going to get the job done. I just think he just knows how much of an opportunity this is. He might not be able to get here again. And he's got to win this one. He came to the Lakers, the one of, if not the biggest franchise in the NBA, and he knows he's got to get there a championship because that's what the Lakers do and the Lakers organization does. They win championships as they've known in history. So when you come here, there's expectation, especially as a star player, one of the best players of all time. So and not for anything, they got the. I don't want to keep mentioning it, but the Kobe factor. I think that's massive.
I was actually going to just say that, man, because not only is there pressure on LeBron because he came to Lakers, there's a lot more pressure the moment that, like, rest his soul, Kobe passed on, and he took on the burden and said that we're going to win it for Kobe, pretty much. That's a big call. That's massive. That's a lot of pressure putting on. And we know LeBron has always taken the pressure and put it on his back forever.
Yeah.
Always. But I'm with you. I genuinely reckon... Do you want my honest prediction or do you want my Miami Heat prediction for this series? Miami in 7, if I was going to go my Miami prediction, but I'm not. It's going to be Lakers in 5. So I'm not even going to bother. Let's stop beating around the bush. You know me by now if you watch this show. I'm a realist, mate. I'm not here to piss in any Miami Heat fan pocket and say this. We need everything to go right for 7 games.
Yeah.
Everything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As much as I love Tyler Hero and Duncan Robertson, but if they start putting them in screen and rolls and getting those smaller bodies guarding LeBron, I think even some of our other guys, I think even Kuzma might even be able to bully Hero a bit because he's got a bit more size and things like that on him. So, look, I'm not saying we got the better team, but we got the better...
No, you might not be.
As an overall team, I just think we've got guys, we've got, few more veterans there. You've got a young side. I mean, this is overachieving for Miami, and no one thought Miami would even get this far in the season.
100%.
So this is 100%. Regardless, this is great for the Miami organization.
Well, it's the first time a 5th seed in the history of basketball has made it to a finals.
There you go. So, but there's one man there, and he's going to get done, man. He's going to get done. I'm expecting LeBron. He's going to average 28, 10, and, let's go 28, 10, and 11. And if Iguodala's guarding him, I'm going to say 36, 13, and 9. So that's what I'm going to say. They're going to have to throw the bodies at him, Domma. They're going to have to throw the bodies.
No, they're going to have to. There's going to be a lot of guys thrown at him this series. And as we know, it would have been easier for the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals because they had bodies to throw. They had their Kawhis and their PGs, and they could have even put Montrezl Harrell on him.
Yep.
Like they had, and Beverly. I know he's undersized, but to draw charge, they had that. And now that factor is irrelevant because, as we've seen, you don't want to throw your best defender on guys to get them tired. And if Jimmy Butler's the best, you kind of want buckets to be an offensive presence in this series as much as a defensive presence. So they're going to be on that rotation, and we saw it, man. LeBron will just abuse. Like we saw it in the last game. As soon as he can see a weakness in a team, he abuses it.
Yeah.
And I know Murray was hurt, but it wasn't just Murray hurt in that last quarter. It was just LeBron James took over that game
Yeah.
and literally stamped his authority on literally on the ball game. He's like, "This is basketball. I'm the best. If you want to get to a game 7 or get whatever it was, yeah, game 7 or 6, you need to beat us. Well, not beat us, beat me." That's what he was saying. You have to beat me. And if you beat me, then you're going to have to beat the rest of the team. So, because we saw he does get beaten in games, but Davis steps up. That's the problem. The
Yeah.
two
And
big stars, and
that's
they're
right.
guns, bro. They're
We've
guns.
had
They're
Davis
so
step
good.
up, and we wouldn't go anywhere without Davis. It's
Oh,
no word of a
100%.
lie. Like the guy's
100%.
been
And yeah,
monumental this season. Unbelievable pickup. We know what a talent he was coming from the Pelicans.
yeah,
You know, the brow. He's came here and not for anything, Dom. Whether it be of his own fault, a fault of his own. There's been times in his career where Anthony Davis has been regarded as soft, right? A bit of a soft player, but this stretch of games where he was, hobbling on the ankle and injured, but he just got back out there. I think, this is the new age of Anthony Davis and what he wants to achieve. He's talking about legacy, and legacy is winning championships, and what a way to do it than to come to the Lakers, the biggest organization, and win your first championship, let alone
I
one
agree.
for the Lakers, Los Angeles
I
Lakers.
agree.
So I think that's going to be playing on his mind, and him and LeBron, they'll know that they are the tone setters for our team, and that's not for
100%.
anything, Dom. When those guys come out flat, our team rarely are able to hold them up and get
They
wins. Yeah,
can't.
like
Yeah,
we need
they
those
can't put
guys.
LeBron and AD on
That's
their
right.
shoulders.
We,
They can't.
they're best two guys,
No.
and they're gonna come out and play like they are the best two guys.
That's the difference with us, and that's why we've always said it with Miami. That anyone could stand up at any stage and help some, like that game where Hero went off for 37. Yeah, we were struggling, and he just stepped up and just dominated. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. Game 1 tomorrow, game 2 on Saturday, game 3 on Monday. It's coming quick every second day. There should be a break in there, I think, after Wednesday. There might be. So I think we could have the first 4 games by the time we get to our next podcast. And
So it could be over.
hopefully, I was about to say, hopefully, we can pinch a game or 2 in there because it could be over by next Wednesday, potentially.
No, I'm not going to talk like that. I've called
No.
it in 6. I actually think Miami are going to be able to get some games, but of course I'm going to go with my team. But I said
Yeah, that's fair
prior, it didn't bother me as long as we were able to get there. I think once we get there, we're going to win. Doesn't matter whether it was Boston or Miami. We were going to win, and I'm sticking with that. I just think it's the goat, baby.
Good goat. Anyway, let's move on. The goat. Anyway, let's move on. Big news. Doc Rivers fired. We discussed this a bit over the last 24 to 36 hours, and we genuinely reckon that you can tell us if we're wrong after you've listened to this or when we upload it, that because the Lakers have been so in your face, what we said shouldn't happen did happen. Clippers got a pass. They're the second team in LA, and they're just flown under the radar here because the Lakers are doing great things. I don't. All I see, this is the thing that makes me just is really weird, mate. Like honestly, it's just the stupidest thing. How is a playoff potato, is the one that's getting scrutinized for everything? And I've seen nothing on Kawhi Leonard. Nothing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why is playoff potato? It's not his team.
Kawhi Leonard is the guy on that team, and he was
choked in every fourth quarter.
terrible in the fourth quarter.
He choked.
Horrendous. He does not get a pass. This is a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP. Wants to regard himself as one of the best, if not the best, in the NBA.
I'll be honest with you. I listened to Colin, and he said something very, very interesting, our boy Cowherd. And he said he won obviously 2 titles in teams where the culture was already established at San Antonio and then at Toronto, because it was the same team. It was just the culture was already established and the system. Now he's going to another team where there's a new system and a culture to be built, and it's a guy that doesn't talk. How are you meant to build something? That's the thing that I find really weird. But he's got a pass. Anyway, Doc Rivers gets fired. So is he the scapegoat? Maybe. A lot of reports saying that they got pissed off that Harrell was playing more minutes than Zubac. Last time I checked, I don't know if anyone else was watching the games, but Harrell was the only one in that game 7 that was actually putting effort in, getting stops, actually scoring.
Don't pick on my boy Montrezl Harrell.
That's the thing I don't understand.
Here. Montrezl Harrell leaves it on the court every time he's on the court, and there's no doubt about it. You don't know basketball if you're blaming that on Montrezl Harrell. They're just trying to use him as a scapegoat. You know who's to blame for that? 2 guys. One, playoff potato Paul George, and 2, mostly Kawhi, no show in the 4th quarter Leonard. Because he didn't show up in the 4th. That's all there is to it.
It's as simple as that. It really is. It's now being linked that potentially Philly may be looking at Doc Rivers as an option, and the Pelicans could be looking as an option.
There we go. The Pals, he'll like that young team. Can build them up. Good defensive coach. They need to improve on defense. The Pals, that's for sure.
So interesting stuff that we just wanted to touch on it. We'll see how this story obviously evolves. And we'll report on it there. But interesting stuff. Now we're seeing that Ty Lue could be the number 1 candidate, and we know Ty Lue is a good coach. So, in my opinion, I would have preferred Ty Lue at Philly. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll cover it as it comes. So yeah, good start to this live stuff, man. Not too bad. Coming up next, we just give you a bit of a rundown on the AFL. So stick with us. Alrighty, here we go. Bit of a AFL update. So, Saucy and I are going to do a special pod this week for the AFL finals that start tomorrow evening. So, we're going to get that together. We'll do a bit of an analysis, and we'll go from there, I guess. So, stay tuned for that. We'll give a rundown, matchups, and yeah.
Should be hopefully coming out tomorrow. Well, I mean, we'll see how this live stream goes, and if it goes successfully, maybe we'll do that one live as well.
Yeah, maybe. Also, just quickly before we do move off AFL, Kevin Sheedy on the board.
Hey, happy about it. Heard it today. News out of Essendon. Kevin Sheedy appointed on the board down at the Essendon Football Club. It's good news.
It's a good day.
It's good today, man. Like, honestly,
hopefully he comes in.
Let's be honest. Our club's been in shambles since that man left. Let's be brutally honest. It has been. As much as people wanted to criticise him towards the end of his tenure, let's be honest. He was the last great club at our great coach at our club. Every single coach since then.
He's gonna walk in to the first board meeting. Waving that flag around.
Benny says out on the chat YouTube, don't bother with AFL analysis because Richmond is winning the flag.
You know why he says stuff like that, John? I'll be honest with you. Because he listens to us, and we've been saying it for the last 2.5 months. That why are we bothering? They're winning the flag, but that's true. They are winning the flag.
To be honest.
So if we happen to be, we're on the record. You know us. We will wholeheartedly admit we are wrong if they don't win the flag. I don't care. We're putting it out there.
I mean,
So
you know,
yeah, stay tuned
stay tuned
anyway for
anyway.
that. We'll bring that to you tomorrow. Anyway, coming up next, it was back this week, Sauce. I almost missed the race, but it was back. F1s. Stay
F1 up
tuned.
next.
Alrighty, here we go. F1 was back. Sochi, Russian Grand Prix. Almost missed this one because for some reason I thought we were going to be racing in Europe again. So
Tell me about this.
I had to watch the race delayed by about 40 minutes because got to about quarter to 10. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll check the listing on KO Sports, and it said the race was live, mate. 23 laps in. What the? Anyway, I had to rewind, start from the start. Didn't
Great.
check the socials, but once again, drama on the first lap. Uh,
What's going on? Can they get around the first lap without something happening? This
they
is
can't drive.
ridiculous. This is
Can't
honestly
say that. They're the
ridiculous.
best drivers in the world. But yeah,
Seriously.
it was a joke, mate. Absolute joke. Stroll out again. So obviously we had the break last week, and we're back this week. So in a fortnight of racing, Stroll has crashed out twice, and my boy Carlos Sainz, he can't even finish the race. And you know what the funny thing is? When I read you the constructors' championship, and I tell you that McLaren's third, that just shows you how well my boy Lando's been driving this year.
Big
That's all.
Lando. The up and coming youngster in the ranks.
He's a gun. He's a gun. But in saying that, Sainz did win a race. He's been good as well. It's just we need him to stay on the track because when he does great things, and we know he's a great driver. Because we need him to do well this year, as he will be driving for the big red tractor and the Wiggles big red car next year at Ferrari. So, and they, as we know, they go nowhere on the track. But safety car came out for that crash. First 8 laps of the race. Wow, great start again. We got safety car to start it. At least it wasn't a red flag on the session. On the resumption, Hamilton led Bottas and Verstappen. But then something great happened. It was set up this week. If you haven't been following, Lewis Hamilton has 90 GP wins. He is 1 win away from tying Michael Schumacher for 91 GP wins. That's the most in F1 history. And it was set up perfectly. He was leading. And then he got hit with a double whammy penalty.
What happened, Domma?
Oh, he had a practice violation 1 and a practice
He was
violation
not happy
2.
on the mic. He was not happy.
He got
He's
the
telling
old
him to check
no.
the rule book. Check the rule
Yeah,
book.
check the rule book. He was just swearing. Oh, I was loving it. So he had to serve that 10-second pen. And from that, he came back out and he was about 8th on the grid. And then, obviously, he worked himself back into it, as Lewis Hamilton does. Ricciardo also received a penalty while in 5th, and that cost him a spot and put him into 6th. But once again, like we say every week, it was literally a race to watch for the middle of the pack. From literally 4 to 6 were racing against each other, and from 7 to 12 were racing each other, which we're not going to see till 2022, the equalisation. So we just got to deal with it. But it's a good opportunity for these young kids to keep pushing it and getting better as drivers.
What's the reason for,
so when
for postponing the equalisation, Domma? Some rubbish.
coronavirus,
But that means you're supposed to be spending less money with the equalisation. So wouldn't that make
And
sense
last
under
time-
this time?
I don't think it makes sense considering the F1 season is actually going ahead and they're pumping in that much money anyway this year in a so-called year of loss. It's not cheap to run F1s, mate. Like if they stopped it tomorrow, they would save a hell of a lot of more money. But they've gone ahead with the season, so I don't know. Anyway, I would have thought as well they get more money because fans would be allowed back next year, so that's even more revenue for them in an equalisation year. They could use most of that merchandise sales and whatnot to help fund them also. But anyway, that's their call. I still reckon it's wrong. But the young kids were good. My boy, shattered. 15th, had tire problems, had to come in, set him too far at the back. He was last for a while when he worked his way back up, but had to pit late. The standings in the race: Valtteri Bottas with the win, so someone different. Verstappen back to second after crashing out 2 weeks ago. Hamilton third. Perez in fourth. Danny Rick in fifth. Surprise in sixth in the big red tractor. Charles Leclerc drove that thing into the ground, mate. The way he was driving that
Big red
Ferrari.
car. Isn't that what you were
Yeah,
calling it, Dom?
that's Vettel. Vettel's the big red car because it's a Muppet car and it does nothing, mate. It's there for
Oh.
show. It's what you
It's
know what
sad,
Vettel's
sad,
car is?
sad hearing that. What the
You know
hell
what
has
Vettel's
happened
car,
to Ferrari
honestly,
racing
his
team?
car is going to a shopping center, and you know when you used to see the Wiggles big red car with the bloody 20 cent, you put it in and starts moving up and down.
Yeah.
It only works when you put bloody 20 cent coins in it, mate. That's what it's like out there at the moment.
And down at Ferrari, they are shambles.
Disgraceful. And then Ocon in seventh. He's been driving actually really well. Danny Kvyat in eighth. His partner in crime, Pierre Gasly, in ninth, and Alex Albon in 10th. Championship, Hamilton's up by 44 on Bottas now. Verstappen in third on 128. And then obviously that mid-table, Norris 65, Albon 64, Ricardo 63, Leclerc 57, Stroll 57, Perez 56, Gasly 45. So very close there. So anyone can pretty much finish fourth. Constructors, Mercedes at home, 366. Red Bull second in 192. But as I said, McLaren 106. And then Racing Point 104 just behind them. So interesting stuff. We'll see what happens. No race next week. Race in a fortnight. Grand Prix is in Germany next on the 11th of October. Whew. There we go.
Good stuff. Domma, I like it. I like it.
So
It's always
that's the
interesting when Hamilton doesn't win. That's what I'm going to say. Because
it is, but
usually when he does win, he's winning by significant margins.
it is true. But and I agree with what the commentary was saying during the race. They said the only person that hurts Lewis Hamilton this season is Lewis Hamilton because he's been getting penalties and stuff, and that's what's cost him races. If he didn't do that, he'd keep winning.
He'd be out of sight
Really?
by now, let's be honest,
Oh,
in the championship. I mean,
be all
he's
over.
still quite heavily in front, but
I reckon
he's home.
he's home.
He'd
You
have to
can't.
he'd have to literally start finishing out of the top 10 consistently.
Yeah, he'd have to have monumental stuff ups like the car problems, where like engine failures and DNFs, not finishing races, and all that stuff. If he
Yeah.
was going to lose from here,
Yeah.
because Verstappen and Bottas can duel it out and switch second or third on a weekly basis and steal points from each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I reckon he's home. Anyway, we'll see what happens. 2 weeks' time, I'm excited. German Grand Prix. All right, coming up next, bit of UFC, mate. It was,
Massive.
can't wait to get into this.
Let's do it.
Oh, we're back. Here we go. UFC. What a card it was.
Elite.
What a sauce. Go for it, mate.
Hey,
Get stuck
let me
in.
just say, what a great day of sports it was on a Sunday where I watched the Lakers get into the finals and then followed it into the UFC. Great stuff. Of course, the usual. You're going to go over the main card, talk over a few fights. So in the main card, you had in the featherweight division, you had Hakeem Dawodu defeating Zorabia Turkov with the third round decision. In the women bantamweight division, you had Catalin Vieira defeating Siraj Eubanks. Flyweight division, in the men's, you had Kara Francis, the New Zealander, defeated by Brandon Royval, the bloke from US. And then we had the light heavyweights. This was a great bout. Dominic Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz. Jan takes it out, gets the title, which John Bon Jones vacated. actually what I liked after the fight, Domma, was he called out John Bon Jones as soon as he won.
I did see that.
He's saying, Johnny Bonnie, where are you? Where are you? Let's
He's saying,
dance. He's making dance.
stop ducking, come fight him. That's what he wants, a big
And of
Polish
course,
hammer,
in the
mate.
main event, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya, absolutely destroyed Ricky Martin, Paulo Costa, the Ricky Martin lookalike, as Adesanya used to call him. Likes to call him.
So what
But,
it did look like Ricky Martin after the
oh,
fight. So
he looked a lot worse off, let me tell you. We'll talk about the two main fights. Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz. Let me tell you, the man, this was a domination from start to finish, essentially, Dom. Like, at no point did he look like he was in danger. He looked so controlled, didn't rush in, landed a total of 41 strikes out of his 89. Significant strikes, 41. So meaning when he was landing, he was hitting them hard. He
Yeah.
chopped up his legs. Then he was able to just pull through, hit him with some couple of clean shots, hit him one right straight up the middle, right hand, and finished him off on the
the power, man.
There
That
was
was
so much power. You know, congratulations, the
You've-
new champ.
yeah.
And he's looking for the next fight. He'd come out and called John Jones out, as we spoke about. But I think John Jones is focused on the heavyweights now, so he won't be going back down. But it's good. He was impressive in his last fight, and his last few fights, he's strung a few wins together, and deservedly to get the championship. What more can I say? I mean, Reyes never really looked like he was in the fight at all,
Nah.
so
No.
it was a domination. And, that just leads on to another domination in the main event where Izzy Adesanya looks like he wasn't even in a fight after the fight finished.
It was clinical.
It was domination, Domma. The bloke landed 26 of 27 leg kicks thrown, kicks to the leg. He was absolutely... You have a look at that fight.
His leg was black and blue, mate.
His leg, Costa's leg, was absolutely chopped up. Costa, let me just tell you, mate. I'll just tell you. Let me just break it down for you, buddy. Right? It's all good to do your antics and your, it doesn't hurt when you hits you and, come on, yeah, let's go, whatever. But when you get chopped up like that and you consistently get chopped in the leg by leg kicks and don't do anything to block it, raise your leg and try block it a bit or get out of range and swap it up and just allow it to keep happening and then try to play it off like you're not hurt. Sorry, mate. Get real.
You got slapped. It was
from start to
a
finish.
good old-fashioned slapping.
And, it was really weird, Dom, because what Costa has been successful with before is actually going forward and asserting his dominance. In this fight, he played on the outside. You're playing to Adesanya's hands. He just picked him off. Too much length. Was able to, strike a move. Costa couldn't even get him in the clinch. Didn't even try to take him down. Nothing. You literally just got picked off from the outside. And then, not for anything.
I watched
Adesanya
Dana White. If you haven't seen it, ladies and gents, you can jump on the UFC Instagram page and you can watch the post-match interviews for Adesanya and Dana White. But Dana White said the exact same thing as you, man. He goes, he was so surprised that he was bringing it back to the middle of the ring every time. Like, they got up on the cage at one stage and they were jostling, and like Costa pushed him off and just went straight back to the middle of the cage. Like, makes no sense. He was shocked.
Yeah.
And it was literally Adesanya just bullied him. He bullied him for two rounds. Just bullied him. And then just finished him off, man. And Adesanya spoke really well in the post-match. And he just said, I've been in the game. That was actually his 100th fight, Adesanya was saying, in his career.
Yep.
And he was saying, man, he goes, you think that I'm young in the sport and I've just got in here and a lot of people don't put respect on me. And he goes, I've fought 100 times, man. Like, if anything, I'm a veteran in this sport. I know what it's like, and I've seen it all before in my career. And he goes, I wasn't surprised. It was all talk. and he just finished him off. It was so clinical. Yeah, it was.
Benny in the chat talking about Izzy versus John Bon Jones. We know that's the fight we want to see, but Izzy making him weight. Yeah, Izzy is making him wait because Izzy's a pussy in that sense. Because John Bon Jones would absolutely destroy Israel Adesanya. I don't care what you say. Izzy will probably have to go up a division, and if they fight at Jones's weight, Jones will destroy him. There's no doubt about it. Jones has proven that he can take guys down, and no one's really been able to take Adesanya down and keep him on the ground and force him into an ugly match. You know. Whereas John Jones on the other hand, has been able to do it all. I haven't really seen Adesanya get into too many matches where other than he's trying to keep his distance, strike, pick him off from the outside, and keep it up on the ground, keep it up standing. So I think John Jones would actually destroy him, to be honest. So, but
There
it's
you
a
go.
fight that I want to see, and I hope at some point we make it happen. Potentially, I reckon.
Well, he said it.
I reckon.
Well, he said he's going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think
He said it in his post match. He actually said it. He said, "I got some other stuff to do in this division before moving up." He said he wants to go to light heavyweight next
oh, there we go.
and fight there and try and win the title there, and then try and move into heavyweight. But his thought process is, if John Bones comes down and fights him in light heavyweight, then he fights him there. If not, he said it'll happen eventually. If he goes, whether I have to fight him. He actually said whether I have to go through Stipe first, which is a big, like, I can't believe he actually said that. Like, he said, if I have to go through Miocic first before I get that shot.
He likes to
at
talk it.
John
And,
Bones.
that's
Yeah.
one thing you can't discredit the guy, even though his actions after he won the fight against Costa were pretty disgraceful, if you ask me, looking like he's trying to hump Costa. That's just, like, I get it. Talked a lot of smack, but you knocked him out at the end of the day. There's no need for you to, do that and carry on like a muppet. Like, carry on, do your celebrations, run around the ring, yell, scream, do your breakdancing, but don't pretend like you're fucking him from behind. Let's be honest. That's pretty, that's disgraceful if you ask me. You knocked him out, so you've clearly the better guy. That's all that needs to be said.
Exactly.
He was the one left on the canvas. So, yeah. Look, not for anything, Domma. We'll move on. We obviously got the upcoming card. There's a UFC on ESPN, so free this weekend. Holly Holm and Irene Aladana in the women bantamweight, the main event. You got the heavyweight. Nice. This is what we like, Domma. We've got a heavyweight fight. Definitely tune in because heavyweights are
always... It's not Big Boy again.
No, it isn't the Big Boy. It isn't Derek Lewis. Not our man Derek.
Oh,
but it's Jorgen De Castro and Carlos Felipe, which is some new fighters. Jorgen De Castro 6-1, Carlos Felipe 8-1. So both only having one loss.
Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
Entertaining stuff. You want to tune in, and heavyweights always the way to go, if you ask me.
You always say it, mate. It's when the big boys come out to play.
You gotta watch. Women bantamweight, you got Jermaine Radami versus Juliana Pena. You got the bantamweight in the men's, Kyler Phillips versus Cameron Elsey. Middleweight division, Daquan Townsend versus Dusko Todorovic. And Dusko Todorovic is 9-0. So, I mean, like I like to say, you always want to see when it seems as though this guy's a young up-and-comer, 9-0 in the middleweight division, coming up against a veteran who's had 32 bouts. Look out, young fella. That's all I say. Because as we've seen what can happen, the old dog can have its day. Don't worry about that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That runs us through, Domma, the UFC for another weekend. Massive card. Love that.
Not enough.
I mean, those top two fights, albeit we're a bit underwhelming in the sense we want to see it go to 4 and 5 rounds. The other two fighters that won were just too good. Yeah,
it was underwhelming, but in the other sense, clinical. So
on both
especially
fronts.
Adesanya. That was just insane. That's it. We'll move on. Coming up next, big week in EPL, so we'll cover that for you.
Up next.
All right, we're back. What a week. Oh, I've been waiting to talk about the Premier League, mate. I'm ready. Fucking
Massive.
Shithouse United versus Brighton. That's where we're starting.
Oh.
Shithouse United, my boys, were terrible. As simple as that. So, for you Shithouse United supporters out there, that's what I'm calling them from now until they make a change. So, if you're a Shithouse United supporter out there and you're defending us, shut your mouth. As simple as that. Just shut your mouth because you know nothing about the sport. If you're defending
Honestly,
the crap
Domma.
that the crap that I've had to sustain for the last 3 weeks, just makes me sick. Makes me sick. If honestly, mate, Brighton could have been teaching a bloody woodwork classroom. That's how many times they hit the bloody post and the crossbar on the weekend. It was just a joke. It was a joke. Make me sick, mate.
Is it fair to call them lemons?
Pretenders? Oh, they are lemons.
Lemon.
Oh, lemons. Oh no, they are. They're lemons, mate. I love it. Oh, terrible. I lost count, mate. How many times they did hit the post? The players, I'll be honest with you, they just look disinterested out there. I love it. The lemon, mate. That's great. I just don't know. I'm literally speechless with them because they look disinterested.
I watched
They
it.
literally look disinterested.
They just, that's a team, Brighton. You're Manchester United. The way that you allow Brighton to have the ball and play at times, your lack of pressure, it's, and not for anything, you ended up winning because of a late penalty, which potentially, could have been
Oh,
worse. You could have drew, or you could have potentially lost the game.
we should have drawn or lost that game. But I do want to talk about that penalty, but I think we should talk about it at the end of this review for a specific reason.
Yeah.
Because I've actually made a note next to each game that was a bit controversial. So, and pissed me off. So, Shithouse United. We'll get into who you're playing next week.
Later. I know what you're talking
We
about.
will.
Tom.
We definitely will. We will move on though. Crystal Palace versus Everton. 2-1 win
Watch
for
this game.
Everton.
Not for anything. Good for Everton. They're doing well. They're obviously improving on last season.
They
This
are.
game was really close, Dom.
Yeah,
This
it
game
was.
was
It was.
close.
I caught a bit of it.
And
Yeah.
there was a bit of a dubious decision. Once again, we'll leave this towards the end to talk about all these sort of decisions. It's baffling if you ask me. And Crystal Palace can feel hard done by. They can feel hard done by. That's for sure. But I think this is not. This is just the start of something that's going to be a weekly talking point, Domma. This is
100%
honestly
it
just the
is.
start of something that's
100%
going to
it
be a
is.
weekly talking point every week on Premier League analysis shows around podcast, whatever.
It's
People are
100%.
going to talk about this, and
100%
it's going to go on and on. I think this is going to get to the point where it's probably going to stay for this season and get changed at some point, probably next season. They need to look at it because the way it's being, we'll speak about it later. But Crystal Palace should feel a bit pissed off and hard done by, if you ask me.
They should. But in saying that, Everton are looking a lot better, and we said it last week, because Ancelotti's there. He's got a good system in place. They've got James Rodriguez. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is looking really, really good, really promising early.
Look, their link-up play and their
ability
to play out from the back, play through midfield. They've got guys who can put balls in, and they definitely got enough talent up there to bang goals in. So, as I said, I think this is, maybe this is the year where,
could be a
Everton
bit of a surprise, yeah.
might be a bit of a surprise. They invested a lot of money last season. It didn't work out. They've moved on. Now they've kept some of those players and brought some more quality in. maybe this is the year where they try push for that, top 6, top 4, potentially. So I think that's what they should be
Yeah,
aiming for, especially with their start to the season. So yeah, they've shown that they've got the
definitely.
quality.
Well, next up was the West Brom Chelsea game. Now, I don't know if you caught any of this, but Chelsea were down 3-0. Yes, 3-0 against West Brom. Callum Robson scored twice, and then an absolute blunder
3 goals in
from
27 minutes, Domma, in the
yeah.
first half.
Oh, the mate. I don't know if you've seen it, but if anyone out there has not seen the Thiago Silva blunder that led to the third goal just before half time, it was fucking dreadful. Let's just put it that way. Man, they got away literally. Oh man, they scored a 93rd minute equaliser.
Yeah, they got
Chelsea.
away with one.
They got away with it. I tell you, West Brom were really unlucky. They played great football. They got them on the back foot, but it just shows. Listening to Lampard
24%
after,
possession to 76%.
yeah, I know. I was listening to Lampard, and he obviously said new signings coming in, building that chemistry. It's actually a positive thing that they walked away with points
Yeah,
because it could have been very, very
that's right.
disappointing. But when Chelsea in that second half were coming back into the game, they looked unstoppable. They looked like they were going to score every single
Yeah.
time,
So it
every
just shows
time.
that they've quality
So
they've got out there. They obviously have to be better, more engaged in first parts of games, especially against those teams that you should go out there and beat as Chelsea Football Club. You got to make sure the first thing in any game that you play is to make sure that you do not go into halftime behind. Right?
100%,
Um,
100%.
that's key. Yeah.
Nah, I agree
So
with you.
the
I agree
fact
with
to
you.
go in halftime 3 goals behind, yeah, that's not good enough, and that's where the game was lost. If they don't concede all those 3 in the first half, they come out here and they probably win the game. Maybe even if they go
It's
in one
yeah.
goal down at halftime. Um,
It is in all honesty, they did walk away with a point, but it is a loss for the
it is a
club
loss.
because
Yeah.
you shouldn't be drawing against West Brom. And well, I understand they're playing away, but you should definitely not be
Playing
down
away with no
3-0.
fans, Dommer. It's not
Yeah,
even a
and you
home
shouldn't be
crowd
down. Yeah,
advantage.
and you shouldn't even be down 3-0. Full stop.
Yes,
They
exactly
just played
right.
terribly. Uh, Moving on, we had Man City versus Leicester in the upset.
Oh, Vardy party, Vardy party.
It actually was a Vardy party. Uh, First goal was scored by Man City.
Riyad Mahrez,
Riyad Mahrez kicked an absolute perler
4th minute
for the
in
first
with
goal.
an absolute
It
strike.
was
If you
it was
haven't seen
Mickey.
it,
It was very
go
very
find a
nice.
highlight somewhere because it was an absolute cracker.
Mate. And then Vardy gets a pen, 1-1. His second goal was just a little cheeky back, like just a back flick off a cross. And then he scored his hat trick on another pen given away by Man City, which was terrible. They controlled the game, Man City, and they still stunk it
Controlled the
up.
game
We
with
said it last week,
72% possession to 28%
and we
Rochester.
said
It
it.
doesn't matter.
We
With
said
that
it
28%, they banged in 5 goals.
exactly. They gave away well, one was a clear penalty, but they gave away two absolute howlers. Like Kyle Walker blatantly just pushed someone in the box. It was just terrible. Um, Madison then scored probably goal of the game, in my opinion. Got him up 4-1. Uh, then Vardy got subbed off. Tielemans scored their fifth, which was a penalty. They got a consolation goal in
Tillemans, I
there.
like him. I like him. He's a good player, man.
Yeah, but no good. Man City, it's a worry. I'm happy because I'm a shithouse United supporter, so very happy. But yeah, Leicester, and we said this last week, yeah, if they keep bringing that crap that they produced against
Yeah.
Lyon in the Champions League, because they're playing exactly the same. Don't tell me they're playing different. They're playing identical. They lost that because you can't give up opportunities to good sides. They did it last week, but they got away with murder. Yeah. This week you're playing quality opposition. So you do that stuff and you're going to get beaten. They did it against Wolves, yeah. Wolves had opportunities in that first half last week. They could have won that game or even drawn it, but they squandered opportunities. Man City made most of theirs. So, I don't know. People are starting to say a bit of Guardiola cracks appearing in the game system. If he hasn't got like the quality, like the top quality, he can't coach. I disagree with that because their whole team is freaking stacked. I don't know what team they're looking at. The bloody analysts.
Honestly, that's just not
the
good
Man
enough.
City's team is a joke. They do have injuries. They've got like Gabriel Jesus is injured and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter.
The depth in that squad, there's no excuses. Let's be honest. There is no excuses. You know, come on.
It was just terrible. They played terrible.
Someone else. They just bought someone else in. Ruben Diaz.
They did was it from Benfica or something?
Ruben Diaz, centre back.
Yeah, Diaz. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. So they just
obviously that means Guardiola knows they need to shore up that defense because they've just conceded 5.
Yeah. Well, Ake scored his first goal for Man City as well, which was a beautiful header off a corner. So he looks good, but you got to remember they did cop 3 pens.
Yeah.
So I understand it is poor defending if you're giving away 3 penalties, but some of them were just stupid pens to give away. But anyway, they suffered a loss. We like Leicester, so we're happy. It was a Vardy party. We'll move on to the next game, which Tottenham versus Newcastle, which was a draw. You were watching this live, and we were having a chat while this game was on. I reckon every 5 minutes you were jumping out of your seat. It was a draw, 1-1. At half time, just tell them it should have been 7-0.
They should have demolished them by half time. Newcastle were on the ropes. They should have absolutely been out of sight, out of mind. They kicked the first goal, 25th minute, and after that, they could have easily had another 2-3 goals. I have no idea why they didn't put them away, and in the end, you leave it 1 goal. You always leave yourself opportunity for the other team to push on in the last 20 minutes of a game, like Newcastle did, and they pinched the draw. So,
especially when you got our favourite system giving you a penalty in stoppage time, the VAR. So that's how they drew that game. But it's okay. We will discuss that in a moment.
Another one.
Yeah. So
seen that. Look, as I said, it's going to be a talking point every week, Domma. Every week.
But anyway, besides that, the point, the game should have been buried.
Yes, it should have.
Alan Shearer, I was watching the halftime, and Alan Shearer got on there, and he said, how the hell is Newcastle United even in this game? The game should be dead and buried, mate.
It should have been.
Buried.
It should have been.
Mate, and then I think Son Min-Hyun got injured in that game, so
not good. We like
not
Son.
rated. We do like Son. They look threatening. Every time he's on there, man, he hit the post twice in the crossbar once himself. So, but we'll see, man. They actually look all right with Mourinho. Mourinho said it. He goes, we're actually looking good. I'm proud of my team and how they're playing. Like, Reguilon hasn't played yet in regular season games. He played in that Carabao Cup game this morning. He hasn't played. Bale yet to debut back at Tottenham since he's been loaned out. So they've got a lot of great players.
Jose.
He is excited. Moving on, we have Burnley versus Southampton. Danny Ings scored again. He's just a gun, man. He's so good for Southampton. They got the 1-0 win there.
That's a big win for them, if you ask me. You know,
There's
the games that those sort of teams need to win to make sure that they stay in the league.
Yeah, I agree. Another matchup, West Ham versus Wolves. West Ham didn't have their coach, David Moyes, didn't have their centre-back Diop and another player because of coronavirus testing and isolation, I think it was. I think there was a positive test there. And they smack Wolves 4-0. They played so well.
Just another typical game of, it's not always possession that counts because they clearly got out-possessed.
2 of their goals that they actually scored, West Ham, in this game were fouls that they conceded in the middle of the pitch, but they took quick free kicks because the players kept pushing hard. Like as soon as the whistle was blown, like in favour for them, the foul, their players knew, oh, we're going to keep moving to attack.
Yeah.
All it took was Wolves to stop, and they just played through balls, and they were already running onto it, and they just had open opportunities. They scored twice from
Just
doing
caught them
that.
sleeping, Domma.
Yeah, caught them sleeping. It was great play by West. It just shows you play the whistle, but if you're the offensive side that's won the foul, man, you just keep playing. You can score at will. You can catch these teams asleep, man. Catch them like
Look,
literally
and not for
daydreaming.
anything, I'll watch the Hammers, obviously, against Arsenal, and we were able to get that win 2-1. But I said to you, Dom, that was a lucky win. West Ham could have got a point out of that. Maybe could have even won that game. They had chances. So, and this is against the Wolves side. What, they finished sixth last season. They finished high up on the ladder. They're coached well. So to beat them
Yeah,
4-0, and I think the
it's a
Hammers
good
are
win.
actually on the up. I think they're improving. I think David Moyes and the coaching staff down there got them obviously playing a bit better, a bit more. You know, look, not for anything. David Moyes is actually a decent coach, Dom. I think
No, he's
I
a decent
think
coach.
the whole thing at Man United didn't work out, but he was actually better than your following coach after that, Louis Van Gaal. He actually had a better record than Louis Van Gaal, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. So um, so like he's getting there. He's getting there. I think this his second season under West Ham coach, second or third season.
yeah, I think so.
So
Second season.
yeah, it's good that they're giving him another opportunity, and maybe the Hammers, because they have spent a few dollars in the last two seasons, they can put some wins together, because we know the Hammers, they're
Definitely.
a storied club in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. Next up is literally Villa versus Fulham. If you're a Fulham fan out there, I feel for you because you are a rebel,
Yeah.
man. You actually are a rebel. Scott Parker, he could potentially be gone mid-season.
Oh, mid-season,
Uh,
yeah, give him around another
oof,
4 games the way he's going.
yeah. Jack Grealish, by the way, for Aston Villa, is an absolute monster, mate. He monstered that team. He's so good. It is ridiculous. Great player. They got the win 3-0 there. Now,
Look,
before we
wait,
get to
wait,
the
one
Arsenal
sec, Donna.
game,
Not for anything, I'll just give you the next 4 games in the Premier League for Fulham. They got Wolverhampton
yeah,
Wanderers, Sheffield
should
United,
lose,
Crystal Palace,
lose,
West Brom. I'll give you the
lose.
fifth, and West Ham. Out of those teams,
They should lose. They probably win
they
one.
probably win one game.
Because what I saw from Sheffield United on the weekend, they'll beat them.
Yeah.
Sheffield United will beat Fulham.
So
They play a good brand of.
maybe they win one game. I actually can't see them beating the Hammers. I can't see them beating
Nah,
Wolverhampton.
not
I reckon they'll
Palace.
bounce back next week.
Yeah,
Crystal Palace are a better side than them. You got Sheffield. You say them. So maybe West Brom. That's the only game that we can see
West
them
Brom maybe.
winning that game.
It's not looking
It's not
good.
looking good. It is not looking good at all. They
No.
have lost every game
Uh,
so far, and that could potentially be only one win in their first 9 games, and that could be see you
yeah,
later, Scott Parker.
yeah, I reckon he's gone, mate. Second last game we're going to cover. Uh, the team that's true to our heart.
Your boy
And my
Domma.
boy, Paddy Bamford. I love the cut of his jib, mate. He's a beast. I love him. He's my boy, Paddy Bamford.
I was
Oh man, he
watching it and I was on
scored.
a live
He
call with
scored.
you, and I said, Bamford, he scored! Your boy!
I love him, mate. I love him. Uh, Genuinely happy for Leeds United. It's another win to notch under their belt. Sheffield United, though, props to them. They played so well. They had so many opportunities. They could have
Yeah.
snatched that and potentially kicked a fair few goals against Leeds in that one. But Paddy Bamford,
I love to see it.
come at
Leeds
the
sitting
moment.
above Tottenham and Chelsea on the ladder,
Yeah.
and Man City and Man United. Go Leeds!
Cometh the man, cometh the moment, mate. Paddy Bamford. What a gun.
Oh.
You got to love him. And the last game, your boys played against Liverpool.
Yeah, Doma.
3-1.
Look, I said to you a
I
few
wouldn't be
weeks
upset with
ago,
Arsenal, to be honest.
this will really be our first test to see how far we've come under Mikel Arteta and his managerial presence. Look, we've improved, and I came into this game not expecting. I expected us to lose. and there was potential. There's times previously where we've played against um, Liverpool and not being able to get to a point at halftime where we have a chance to actually go on and get a result in the second half. So we did well to keep it within, a goal. But we scored the first goal. We defended for our lives until we got that one opportunity, and that one opportunity actually came through a bit of luck. Took the opportunity, but to go down the other end and literally concede 3 minutes later just shows that the concentration. I mean, albeit the concentration was there prior. Where was the concentration for that 10 minutes after a goal where, it's known that that's potentially one of your most vulnerable points to concede? Wasn't there. And that 10 minutes preceding after that goal, we conceded two and went in at halftime 2-1 down. And not for anything, um, you know,
We've said it though about Liverpool, man.
yeah, Liverpool. The thing is,
They're on
Liverpool,
another level.
they've got the quality to just change gears, and when teams are able to just do that, they're playing in this manner, and then all of a sudden you just see they've ramped it up, and they're linking and their link up play through the midfield, through the front third, to be able to create chances just goes to another level. And you see that their wingers just bombing on their right back, left back, Alexander Arnold and Robertson. Obviously Andy Robertson got in there and scored, and that came down to a bit of lack on our part to not track back and track his run back. But all that being said, right, we were still in the game at halftime, Domma. We were still in the game. Arsenal was still in the game, and we came out in the second half. And we played, with urgency, and we played better. And not for anything, we actually had a chance where Lacazette was one-on-one with the keeper, and he kicked it straight into him to potentially equal the game to 2-2. But, you don't take your chances, and to be honest, Dom, when, we are not as good quality of a team, in a sense. You need to take those chances, because if you don't, we found out they could have had another goal earlier than this 88th minute. Credit to us, we stayed into it that long, but we had to keep bombing on. And even the goal that they got was from I keep saying it, as long as we play David Luiz, we ain't going to get anywhere. It was from a David Luiz, absolutely abhorrible defensive header, where he literally, lollipop the header to the top of the box on as a defensive header. When he should have headed it back out either for a corner or back out in that direction, not lollipop it to the top of the box where Diogo Jota on his first game for the club was able to just control it and put it in the bottom corner and finish us off. So credit to Liverpool. They are definitely the side to beat this year in the Premier League. They have got so many weapons, and their link-up play and ability to move the ball through midfield, the way that their wingers
they're quality,
on,
man. So good.
Yeah, look, they're just great to watch, and you can't, Klopp. I've said it. The guy's a maestro. You can see the morale and everything in that club, and not for anything, it just shows that when someone like Jota came on and it was his first game for the club. And he comes into the team and looks like he's been playing there for 3 seasons. The way he was finding space and getting into positions and knowing where to run and everything. It's just a credit to the team and the setup. And Klopp. So
yeah, Klopp, 100%. They're a great outfit, and they're going to be tough to beat. But before we get into it at the end here, we'll just quickly run through the games for next week. We've got Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, Everton versus Brighton, Leeds versus Man City. Leeds home game there, so hopefully they can get a win. Newcastle versus Burnley, Leicester versus West Ham, which would be a great game. Southampton, versus West Brom. Arsenal have Sheffield United. Wolves versus Fulham. Shithouse United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa versus Liverpool to round out the week 4 fixtures. So some good games up there, and we'll have a look and see what happens. But let's get into it quickly before we move on. I've made note here, yeah. VAR, 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 VAR. I'm serious. You said it perfectly. Tool that players are going to use now in late game situations to say to refs, you need to review it, you need to review it. And some of the calls off VAR have been disgraceful, mind you. It's meant to get the call correct. Sometimes it doesn't even do that. But I'm with you, mate. It's going to be a talking point. This week was a really bad week for reviews and decisions. I wasn't happy personally. I was happy to get the win, clearly, in our game. But their coach summed it up perfectly at Brighton. He said once we scored in the 95th minute, as soon as the ball was kicked off, the whistle should have blown. We got the penalty, I think, 96 at the 96 and a half minute. How we got to play another freaking minute and a half and get a corner out of that minute and a half is beyond me. As soon as they scored, mate, I dropped my head into my hands, mate. I was like, I can't believe we lost this game. Because in any other football game on the planet, as soon as they kicked off, you should have blown the whistle. It was 95th minute, and that's it. Game over. But
Fergie time, mate.
Obviously,
Fergie time.
Fergie time.
It still exists, mate.
Yeah, Fergie time exists when Fergie comes back and kicks Solskjaer out of the freaking chair. He goes, I'm the manager. But yeah, it's just the VAR, the Everton one was terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely
look, I seen
terrible.
that, Dom, and it was, I don't know. I honestly don't know what they're doing down there. Like, seriously, it's, as I said, it's going to be a talking point every week. We're going to see these every freaking week, these decisions. I have no idea, man. Like, I just don't understand it. I really don't. I, I'm lost for words on some of these decisions, to be honest, Dom. And
It was pretty bad.
It's ruining the game essentially. I don't know why. It is horrendous. It is horrendous.
We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, it doesn't become so integral in every game going forward, because it was definitely not good. Definitely not good. But we will move on. Coming up next, NFL, mate. You're going to go on a rant again. Jeez. All right, stay tuned. All right, we're back. NFL, big week. You're going to get into it in the next game. We're going to try and go in order, get a few of these games done and dusted. Dolphins versus Jacksonville. Ryan Fitzmagic. He was great. He was so good. Got us the win. I was a happy man. He went 18 to 20, 160 yards, QBR of 97. He beat Gardner Minshew. Looked all right at times, but as we said, Jacksonville are Jacksonville, so they're going to resort back
Yeah,
to some
look, that was
games where they
that
play
was the
terrible, mate.
Jacksonville
So
that we knew who they were. Like that's the team we expected them to be, essentially. Um. So yeah, it's it's nothing to be expected, to be honest.
yeah, 100%. Next up, we had Mitchell Spudbisky replaced by Nick Foles, beating the Atlanta Falcons and Matty Ice Cold in the fourth quarter. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown?
Domma, look, if you've been following, ladies and gents, obviously, I gave that as my biggest bet of the week. Um, Atlanta Hawks -3, and Domma, you know, I was on the way to work, just monitoring the scores, sort of had it there. Said 16 points up going into the last quarter. Thought, you've done it again this week. Your 3% play on the money, was celebrating prematurely, but rightfully so, because not for anything, had
Game should have
a
been finished.
98% win probability, which is, win probability is based off historical events. So, 98% of the time when a team is leading 16 points going into the fourth quarter, they generally go out and close and win the game. What happened from the 8-minute mark to the 4-minute mark in the last quarter, Domma, was an absolute disgrace of a display of gridiron football. An absolute disgrace from top to bottom, from their coaching to their offense to their defense. An absolute disgrace. Domma, I'm watching this game. I had to go back and watch the last quarter to see what happened. For anyone out there who doesn't know, they obviously, Mitchell Trubisky, the greatest coaching move of all time, the Chicago coaching staff, pulling Mitchell Trubisky and putting Nick Foles. Nick Foles just went out there and done Nick Foles things, and we know what he can do. Obviously, he led the Philadelphia Eagles to a Lombardi trophy. But I'm not even going to go out there and just talk about Nick Foles and, him leading the comeback. He was part of it. The Atlanta Falcons, you're a shambles. 2 weeks in a row, you've lost points of 15 points or more in the last quarter. And not only was it, that they got chased back from, there's 12 minutes in a quarter. They got chased back from the 8-minute mark. So at the 8-minute mark, they were still up by 16 points. From what happened from that point is a joke.
It was a
It was a
disgrace.
disgrace, Domma. You had Matty Ice and the offense.
Matty Ice
Matty
Cold.
Ice Cold and the offense refusing to
He
run
went
the
0
ball
from 7.
when you've run the ball for 145 yards of offense through 3 quarters. You stop running the ball when one of the key things is clock management in the NFL and the ability to manage the clock down the stretch. You keep the clock running. They kept trying to pass the
Gurley
ball.
was
When you do
dominating.
an incompleted pass, for anyone out there who doesn't know, it stops the clock. You're up 16 points. Why are you trying to stop the clock by running incomplete passes, man? Like, just run the ball, get the ball moving, get your first downs. Like, I couldn't make
Gurley
it.
was dominating. He was playing so well.
Yeah, but Dom, they had 145 yards on the ground through
That's what I'm
3
saying. No, but
quarters.
that's what I'm saying. As the running back, give the ball to Todd Gurley. He's just going to run the
What
ball.
the hell? But
Stop trying to
not
throw it
even
to
that,
bloody.
Dom, and then I'll take it to the defensive side of the ball. The absolute shambles of defense that proceeded to Nick Foles getting one of the touchdowns, one of the 3 touchdowns that he threw
Oh,
for
that was terrible.
in
That
the
was
last
so
quarter,
bad.
where the guy caught it at about the 30-yard line, and 2 guys wrapped him up in a tackle, and then somehow just let go.
Let him go.
Essentially, they had
Oh,
him. They had him. Look, I don't know. I literally don't know because, if
So
they stop one of those, I understand. But I just don't know how they lost the game, Domma. I don't
Well,
know. It
I'll
was
tell,
so
I'll tell you,
bad. It was just,
man. Foles took risks
yeah, he
on
did.
third downs, and they paid off. Third and fourth downs, and they paid off.
He did, but
So,
it's
so I'm assuming that you're now going to be like our boy Colin Cowherd and completely get off of Atlanta
oh,
Falcons.
they can go get stuffed.
He's done with
I'm
them as
I'm
well.
done with them. They're absolute shambles. 2 weeks in a row they've given up a 98% win probability in the fourth quarter.
Mate, so from now on, it should be literally going into the last quarter, and they're up by 16. Win probability
No,
10%.
you should ring up on the live bet and bet on the other team because they'll be paying like $10. You can make money. That's what you should do.
Oh,
Next
it's
time that happens,
ridiculous.
I'm doing that. If they're leading
Oh,
going into a fourth quarter, I'm betting on the other team.
oh, you should. You actually should, mate. They were terrible. Moving on, we had Rams versus Bills. Uh, man, Bills moved the ball well. Uh,
You're liking Josh Allen, your boy.
I am. LA had a pick early in the second, which hurt them. Uh, man, he's worked on his game a lot. He throws an absolute rocket, that guy. But he's been working on his feints, yeah? A lot. A lot. Like, guys can't even get him sometimes. And he's a big unit. You should be able to just grab him. Like, we saw him do his big fend off a couple of weeks ago. He's a big beast of a human, mate. They were up 21-3 at halftime, Buffalo. Then 28-3. Then LA just picked up their defending. They got it 28-17. They got a 2-point conversion after getting their TD, got it to 28-25. And then LA actually took the lead with 6 minutes left in the game, 32-28. An LA flag with 21 seconds on a fourth down cost them as it got a restart on the throws on the downs for Bills, and with 15 seconds left, TD for them. So Allen was great, man. Really, really good. Singletary was a beast in this game as well. Cole Beasley was really good. Stephon Diggs had a nice TD catch.
4 TDs,
Uh,
128.9
but LA's good, man.
quarterback
LA's
rating.
good. Rams are
84.8
good.
quarterback rating, my bad. But
But Rams are good, man. Rams are going to be good. Like, Aaron Donald got some big time sacks at the end there, yeah, that got them back in the
yeah,
game. Like, he single handedly almost won them the ball
look,
game.
we
Just
know this
unlucky.
Ram
Just
Football
unlucky.
Club they're
They're
good.
good.
So
They're good.
they're going to
They had
challenge
a.
teams. We'll see how they're able to
We said
close
it.
games
Yeah.
out in the fourth. But they made a run for it, 15-7 in the fourth. So and in the second half, not for anything, they were getting severely outplayed in the first half. So
Yeah.
to come out second half, be able to apply the pressure, but that game clearly lost by not being able to put enough points on in the first half. And
Correct.
the Buffalo Bills defense, they were able to nullify them in the first half. Made it hard for them to move the ball up the field, get consistent first downs.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. It was a good game, all in all. It was a
Really
great
good
game.
game. Really good game. Next up, we had Cleveland versus Washington, which I'll tell you what, they were down going into the fourth quarter, Cleveland, in this, and they pulled on 17 points in the last quarter to win it.
And I
So,
said Domma, I said, I was thinking about taking Washington, but I didn't want to take two absolute spud teams because I already took the Giants, and we know how that worked out. And not for anything, they've actually should have made a better meal of this game in the fourth quarter. They literally, Haskins and that offense in that fourth quarter turned into absolute lemon. Fair to say, because they had literally nothing going for them. Nothing going for them.
no,
And that
they were
Cleveland Browns,
terrible.
they've got a lot of weapons on that offense. Let's have a look at Baker. He's 16 of 23, QBR was 74.1. run the ball, 108 yards by Nick Chubb. I mean, they dominated.
Well,
They dominated it on the ground. Running for 158 yards. That's
Correct.
that's great running offense. Apparently Baker Mayfield and Odell don't have any chemistry, even though he was targeted 6 times, 4 receptions, and no TD, but he was most yards on the Cleveland receiving team. So, but don't get ahead of yourselves, Cleveland, because you only played Washington. Let's be honest.
Correct.
They still haven't improved. They still haven't impressed me enough to sell me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Next up, we had the Tennessee Titans versus the. Where are we? What's happening here? My thing's just against the Vikings. Now, there's nothing much to say in this. Steven Gostkowski had a career high, I think 6 field goals kicked in this for Tennessee. Kept them in the game, whatever. They won it 31-30. Get ready to put the Le Mans back on the screen because our boy has backed up his 9.4 QBR from last week. Kirk the Le Mans Cousins with a 44.3. He was terrible again. He was terrible. What is happening? Dalvin Cook rushed for 181 yards in this game for Minnesota. That's how they stayed in the game. If Dalvin Cook wasn't rushing for freaking 181 yards, I couldn't see them winning. Mate, they were. Justin Jefferson had 175 receiving yards, but he was a lemon. Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to spend a lot of time on these games, mate. He's just struggling. Really struggling. We had Raiders.
You like that?
Raiders. You like that?
Come on, bro. Two interceptions. QBR 44.3. Wowee.
Come on. I'm just looking forward to seeing what he's going to put up next week, to be honest. I'm hoping that it's...
Hey, the Titans 3-0. Get riding high. You're looking good in that division with Ryan Tannehill. They're definitely right between them and the Colts, I believe.
Yeah. Next up, we had New England against the Raiders.
Hey, look, this is the Raiders looked good last week. They go on the road to New England, but Pats and Cam Newton, we've heard good things about him. His teammates are very, very impressed. Talking about how his work ethic, and how much time he puts in regards to studying the playbook. Getting to the practice facilities first, last to leave, the old line. But, they believe in him as a quarterback. And as they should. I mean, the guy has been MVP, and I think, one of the most, the great lines I took away that out of all the things that Cam Newton said in his interviews was, I ain't here, they asked him, there's 2 things. He said one thing was like, I ain't here for the money. I've made enough money in my career, right? That tells me he's here to win, and he's here to, he's
100%.
This is the first time in his career he's had a Hall of Fame coach, right?
Man, he looked good though. Like he was partnering up with guys like Rex Burkhead in this, and Rex Burkhead looked really good. Sony Michel looked really good for rushing, but Burkhead was great. Had 2 TDs. I'm pretty sure 3 TDs. He looked really good. QBRs weren't anything to hang your head on for both quarterbacks in this game. They weren't the greatest. But Raiders look alright though. They're not going to be terrible. They just made a few errors which cost them, but New England just went through the motions, I guess. And yeah, it was a good game to go and watch some TDs thrown, but a lot of people won't because you can't be bothered watching New England. You want them gone. But they're going to be good. That's the problem. Get used to it.
Domma.
Next up, we're going to cover this in about 1 second. San Francisco, good. Giants, shit. Moving on.
I'm not betting on them again, Domma. I said to you, I could look like an absolute genius taking the +4, or can look like an absolute fool, and let's just say, I'll give myself one of these because I look like an absolute lemon with that pick.
Oh, it was terrible. But moving on, we have Bengals versus Philly, the first tie of the season. I'll tell you what, I'm going to say it once again. They probably should have won this, the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'll
Domma.
tell you what, if our boy Burrow, well, your boy
Hey,
Burrow,
I like him. I like Burrow. He's
gets a
good.
defense,
He
and they
gets a
don't,
defense and a
man, they're
half
going to be all right. They're
and
going to be all right.
half an offensive line because let's just say his
Yeah, they're
offensive
going to be
line
all
is
right.
a
But
disgrace.
they look good though. Philly look good. Wentz looks really good. They just got a lot of injuries, like you've been saying, mate. Like I don't know. He looked really good, Wentz, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
he did
look,
throw
not for
two
anything. They are
interceptions. One of
playing
them,
against a terrible Bengals defense, right?
yeah,
Don't forget that, ladies and
they
gents. That
they should
Bengals
have won this
defense is a
though.
disgrace.
Philly should have won.
Um, and not for anything, Philly, in overtime, if they just could have just done the tangibles, which is, being able to play without giving away penalties, they would
Yeah,
have put themselves in a position where they would have had an opportunity for, 48 to 50 yard field goal for the win. And push the total over 46.5 points, Domma, where I had that as one of my bets, and I've lost by half a point because these Muppets couldn't close it out in 12 minutes of overtime.
yeah, mate. I'd steer clear of Philly. Bengals. I think we're learning very quickly. We got to steer clear of a few
Your boy
teams.
Colin said in that division where the Philly Eagles are, a
Yeah,
record of
they're like what?
8-8 could potentially win the division.
Yeah, I think they're 2-9-1 in the division. Two
That
nine and one.
division is stinking at the moment.
Very very stinky stuff down there. Next up we had Texans versus the Steelers. Well, he's 0-3.
Hey, he's going
Deshaun
through.
Watson.
We know
You said it. Like
he's
that
a good
veteran
quarterback.
presence, just having Big Ben back in there, it makes a big difference over like a Mason Rudolph who they had last year. So Steelers advance to 3-0. Like I don't see this team. We've said it. We don't see them being like a playoff threat, but they're good. Big Ben, like they're going to push some teams. They're a decent side, mate. So we'll look to see how they progress for next week when we go through week 4 schedule. But next up, again, we're not going to spend much time on this one. Colts versus Jets. Not good for the Jets. Not good at all. They just got slapped around, unfortunately. Oh, man, I like the Jets. I really want to see some improvement. Like they lost 36-7. There's not much to stay on with this game. They just got beaten up pretty badly. Next up,
They
the
stink. They
Panthers. The
stink.
Panthers beat the Chargers, which is a bit disappointed really because Justin Herbert he goes out. Boy, does he throw the ball! He threw it 49 times on the weekend. So yeah, good win there for the Panthers. They're 1-2. Chargers are now 1-2. So a lot of 1-2s. Buccaneers 2-1 now. Beat the Broncos.
Hey, this
Who?
Bucks side, they're coming along. Obviously, the
Yeah,
first week, bit of chemistry issues, but as they're playing more and more games, they're looking stronger. Obviously, with the GOAT at quarterback, Tom Brady. And,
I'm surprised though with the Broncos, man. Like they're struggling
yeah,
big
look,
time.
they are struggling. We don't know what they're doing at the QB position. Um, I'm not sure if Driscoll actually got injured or he just got pulled for stinking it up because he ended with a QBR of 21.8 dollars. I'm guessing it was because he was stinking.
That's not very good at all. Next up, we had Detroit beating Arizona 26-23.
Yeah,
Matt Stafford gets his first win of the season, and Kyler Murray gets his first loss of the season. So that sends
I
them to a 2-1 in Arizona.
yeah, I
So
think we said that we can see the Lions winning about 6 to 7 games this season. So this is a game that they could. You look at that and they could potentially win. I mean, unfortunately for me, I was high on the Arizona Cardinals hype train and was let down severely. And I took them +6 on the line, -6 on the line. Sorry, and I've had an absolute mare on the punt this week.
yeah, you weren't as good as you were last week when you were 4-4, or 4-0, sorry, and you killed it. But moving on was to the last three games, mate, of this week
Great
were
matchups.
absolutely unbelievable.
Great stuff.
I'm penciling it in. Got the pen. It's 2 now for Dak. He's thrown over 350 yards 2 weeks in a row. I could be wrong here because I didn't take into consideration the fact that he's got a different coach. It's clear and evident that he's been told to throw the ball more. He threw the ball 57 times, Dak Prescott. I don't think he threw the ball 57 times in the last 5 seasons.
That's a
Three
lot
seasons,
for him,
but
to be honest.
57,
And,
massive, man.
But he threw 2 picks, Domma, so that's
Yeah, I know.
always
Saw that.
not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that throwing the ball 57 times. You've got Ezekiel, the Man Mountain Elliott, right there at running back.
He
And,
struggled a bit, though.
and the
He
guy,
did.
he only got 14 carries. Only averaged 2.4 on the carries. But they've got to do better at moving the ball. 61 rushing yards. That is not going to be, I mean, it's maybe okay if you got, Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning, someone of that ilk, who's got the arm. But Dak
Yeah.
Prescott does not have that quality of an arm to, you know,
Goddamn throw it 57
yeah,
times.
yeah. That's all I'm
But
saying.
on the other end, our favourite, our prodigal son of this show, Russell Wilson, comes out and throws 5 TDs and lights it up.
My boy.
No
I like
interceptions.
Russell. He's a
I'm
gun.
going to read you a few things here. I took some notes
If the
when I was
man doesn't
watching
get
this,
any
man.
MVP votes this season,
Mate, he's thrown like bloody, was it 14, 15 or 16 TDs in the first 3 weeks. Some guys go 20 TDs and bloody 18 picks for a season. This bloke's bloody in 3 weeks.
yeah, he's unbelievable. He's
Man, he
flying
started
at
the
the
game,
moment, and that
man.
Seattle Seahawks team are looking good.
He threw a bomb at the beginning to Tyler Lockett, who is a beast,
Oh
by the
yeah,
way, for
seen that. That
TD.
was a great touchdown.
Wilson to Lockett was for 3 TDs at the half. That was a great link up. I took a nice note here because I'm going to call him out. DK Metcalf.
Oh, seen this.
Wilson should have 6 TDs. He threw an absolute bomb. He was in the end zone. He went to do his fancy little footwork, arrogant bullshit. And the rookie, credit to him for Dallas, Diggs, running behind. He's like, you know what? He's going to punch the ball from behind out of his hand before he got in the end zone. No TD. Got called as a touchback, so they had to redo the play. Mate, come on. Get in there, then do your stupid celebration.
Finish off the play. Finish
Look
off
like
the
a
play.
Muppet.
What don't you
You're like
understand?
one that
You
game.
run into the end zone, secure the TD, then do your celebration. Don't do your celebration before you've even entered into the end zone.
No, you look like an
You
absolute
could have
clown.
literally potentially cost your team the game. Then you would have looked like more of a Muppet than you already are. But not for anything, DK Metcalf.
You played well.
He's played
You're
well,
lucky you
and
played well
he played
because
very
you would have
well.
got, you know what,
Yeah,
DK.
look,
You
he did make
the
up
old
with it. I think he caught a TD pass later in the game. So,
He did. He did. He did step it up, but it's more just the
but
fact
yeah,
that
that is just unexcusable, and you can't be doing those amateur hour things in the big time.
yeah. Dak, they had the opportunity. They hit the woodwork and they missed a field goal conversion point. They could have been 33-38 and a bit of less pressure on them, Dallas, at the end. But that second pick was right at the end of the game. Dak was trying to go for the Hail Mary to win it. So in my opinion, it doesn't count. But they had to try.
It's a must throw.
Yeah. But next up, Packers Saints, the heavyweight battle of the world. Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees. Wow. It was great. Both threw 3 TDs. Alan Lazard, the young kid from the Green Bay Packers.
6 yards on the reception. Jeez.
I'll tell you something. This score of 37-30 is no true reflection of how the Green Bay Packers slapped the New Orleans Pelicans in this game. If it wasn't for Alvin Kamara chopping up the Green Bay Packers on receiving and rushing, they potentially could have lost by 3 TDs in this. They got slaughtered. They were getting killed. They were making it hard for Breeze to get the ball out, his timing, everything. Without Michael Thomas in this team, Drew Brees is struggling a lot
Yeah.
as a big target.
Yeah.
And Kamara stepped up, man. Big ups to him. Literally, you have a look at it. He led in the rushing yards and the receiving yards, and he dominated. He had a running a reception where it was unbelievable. He ran bloody 40 yards and he got a TD. It was fantastic, but he kept them in the game. Breeze being accurate helps, but he kept them in the game, or else they would have been in a lot of trouble. But they look good, Green Bay.
Green Bay look
They
good.
look
They're
good.
putting
I
the pieces
wrote them
together.
off. I wrote them
And
off. I wrote them off.
I'm
wasn't.
telling you, it's just a matter of keeping Aaron Rodgers healthy. I think potentially if they get you know another weapon, one more, could help them out.
Maybe. I reckon they're loaded though. Like this Lazard guy's played pretty well. Sternberger, who's a rookie as well, actually played really well. Aaron Jones is a gun. I don't know. They look alright. But time will tell. And then obviously the gun show was on display in the last game of the round. KC versus the Ravens. And I'll tell you what, my homeboy came out and said, I'm getting paid the big bucks.
Gave
For a
us,
reason.
gave us the shrug.
Yeah, he said, this is why I get paid the big bucks. Because I'm the best QB. He pulled on with the Kansas City Chiefs in the second quarter. 21 points and iced the game. The game was finished at halftime in this. It was 27-10. They didn't look like they were coming back. Lamar Jackson
Take
spent...
note, Atlanta Falcons. That's how you close it out. Take note.
Yeah.
Right?
Lamar Jackson spent more time rushing the ball than throwing the ball, in my opinion. He rushed for 83 yards and threw for only 97 yards. But he just got destroyed. They were all over them. Kansas City, props to him. Andy Reid down there is a fantastic coach. And, mate, they're going to be hard to beat, Kansas City. A lot of people wrote them off before the season, said, it's going to be hard. They haven't got this, they haven't got that, blah, blah, blah. But I reckon, man, they look all right. They look all right. But that's it, mate. That's our review. We'll go into a schedule for this week. This week we've got Broncos versus Jets, both 0-3. Hopefully someone can get a win there. Bears versus Colts. Jags versus Bengals. I love how this is telling me that the tickets are as low as $96 a pop, and you can't even be in the stadium. Jags versus Bengals. Surely the Bengals get the win here. Here we go. The Browns versus the Cowboys. Now, that's going to be interesting. Saints versus Lions. Saints should get that done. Steelers versus Titans. Both 3-0. Anything can happen there. Seahawks versus Dolphins. Wilson potentially could throw for another 5 TDs in that game. Buccaneers versus Chargers. Ravens versus Washington. I feel sorry for Washington this week. Getting Ravens on a week that they just got beat up by Kansas City.
The sports books have got the Ravens at 2 TD favourites.
Wowee. Cardinals versus Panthers. Kirk Cousins versus the Texans. Both 0-3. Giants versus the Rams. Wow, that could be an absolute bath. Here we go. It's a nice game. Patriots versus Chiefs. Very nice. Bills versus Raiders. Eagles versus 49ers. And to round off the week, the Falcons versus the Green Packers.
We will bank that, put that as an absolute banker at $1.29. Throw that in all your multis, as many multis as you want.
It's at Lambeau Field as well.
As many multis as you want. $1.29 to win. that's a banker for you. That will boost up your multi. Bank that. Literally bank that. If I had to spare $100,000, I'd just put that on there just to make 29,000.
29K.
It'd be the easiest
Bang.
29,000 ever.
So we'll keep a lookout for your tips throughout the week.
Haven't done them yet, but I will get them together. Probably post them out tomorrow, and then post them out again. Reshare them usually on Sunday evening before the
Beautiful.
games. So, but yeah, haven't gone in. I need to sit down. I gotta recover. Obviously, we can go through at my most recent display. I'll just let you know. I haven't tallied it up yet, but I had 4 bets. Had Arizona Cardinals -6. Was terribly wrong on that. New York Giants +4 was terribly wrong on that. Bengals versus Eagles over 46.5. I'll say I was
spot on with that.
I was stiff. Look, we know Falcons -3, my biggest player of the week, 3%, and I'm not happy. Look, I'm not even going to go on about it. I'm still annoyed. And then my one bet that I did win was I had a multi, which is, saved our graces a little bit. I had a multi, which was -2.5 Seattle Seahawks into Steelers to win. That tallied up to $2.38 in the multi. So, look, we've ended the week with a losing record of 1-3. But 1-5, 1-4, 1-4, 1-4.
Fair enough. Great stuff.
Terrible.
All good, mate. All good.
But,
we'll
ladies and gentlemen, that's
out.
why we have a betting bankroll and we manage our funds. So when weeks turn up like this, they don't hurt our pocket too much. And
exactly. And if you do gamble, remember, as we always say, gamble responsibly. Coming up next, we're not going to have a lot to talk about, but a little bit to talk about now in our hobby talk. So stay tuned for that. All right, we're back. Hobby talk. Let's get into it. Not much to report, honestly, if you're listening or watching. As you saw on the weekend, we did have a catch-up with Big Boy Movement. Unfortunately, the audio stuffed up, and we just thought it was best to pull it down, as it was hard to understand when it was with the reverb.
Yeah,
but
it was bad.
Big Boy has been kind enough to reschedule. We're going to pre-record the podcast this time to make sure there's no issues, and then we'll get that out to you at some stage, either Sunday night or Monday or Tuesday next week. So stay tuned for that. He's got some great things to say in the hobby. He's been in it for a long time, so definitely stay tuned, and you'll get some very valued tips. Also, if you have not already watched it, we have spoken to Cherry Collectibles in a podcast. We will make sure we put their stuff in the description below. They've shared our stuff on their socials as well. So if you want to check it out, jump on there, or you can find it in our IGTV. But we're here to talk about...
Tell us, Domma.
Don Luca, Mr. Williamson, and one-of-one John Morant.
One-of-one John Morant. What rebel is he saying? One-of-one John Morant.
Our boy.
Who are we talking about, Tom?
4 hours ago. Well, a bit longer now. We'll say about 6 hours now, because we've been going for a while on the pod. Kendrick Perkins. He's in the hobby. Ladies.
Kendrick Perkins. Welcome. Welcome. We're happy to have you.
We're happy to have you. We actually put it out there, and we said, if you want to come on the show, come on the show. I know we haven't got a massive following for him, but come on the show. We want to actually, first of all, talk to him about why he's jumping in the hobby. That's first and foremost. what got him into the hobby. Secondly, these are the main things we want to ask. We genuinely want him to come on to discuss the hobby. But there's another thing we do want to discuss with him. Clearly, and we're not taking shots at Perk here, we're just stating what our interpretation of the videos is. Whether he got paid or he hasn't, he's done some free marketing or paid marketing for the grading company PSA. Now, in the video, he's come out and said, if you're not grading PSA, then get your stuff out of here, or something along the essentially.
No,
The Sauce and I saw it.
look,
We're pissing ourselves because Perk is man, he's hilarious.
He's a character.
We love him. He's a character. But at the same time, we're laughing, but we're also concerned. Do you want to tell the viewers, as the resident hobby specialist here on the show, why it's a concern saying that PSA is heads and shoulders above everyone?
Well, it's a concern, Domma, because what he's doing is essentially hyping up PSA graded cards when, in actual fact, and it's proven, that their grades are no better than any of the other two main grading companies.
Being BGS and SGC.
Being BGS and SGC. That's just fact. I'm not standing up for BGS and SGC in a sense that I think they are better than PSA or that PSA is better than BGS and SGC. Anyone who knows or has listened to this show knows I don't care for any of the grading companies. I don't favour any of the grading companies. I actually think that there's severe flaws in all of the grading companies. Hence why I don't regard any higher than each other, because they've all been proven to have flaws in their grading techniques. They've all, not they've all, but PSA themselves have been involved in scandals around grading and things of the like.
That's fact, and we're not slandering anyone. That's actually reported.
You know, it just proves to me, and I see things all the time. You know, how can you be having this grade? And I'll bring it back to the thing with PSA. How ridiculous is that they have an 8.5 grade,
a 9,
but then they go 9 to 10 and don't have a 9.5 grade. That there to me just shows complete and utter dishonesty in their grading system. The fact that they've got an 8.5 and don't have a 9.5 is ridiculous. I think that's just outrageous. But I'm not here, and I've always said, I'm not here to slate PSA. I'm not here to slate BGS. I've seen BGS stuff that, baffles me as well. And they've also been, had, their issues, black labels that you're like, well, Black Label's supposed to be the most prestigious label.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit dubious. And, and there's also speculations around other things that they, it's a whole marketing technique in terms of having a 10 and a 10 black label, which it probably is. But, not for anything, those are actually worth more than a PSA 10. So it's worked in a sense.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't know. My concern is,
and this is, I haven't finished on much, but my concern is by him doing this, all he's saying, whether he's been paid to do it or not paid to do it, which I'm not sure. I think maybe he's got, if he hasn't been paid to do it, he's got an invested interest in PSA somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
And he's just inflating PSA graded cards and telling people and people that might be new to this, well, if you're not, unless you're buying PSA, all the other cards are junk, essentially. But
it doesn't work that way.
For the average Joe that doesn't have millions of dollars sitting in the bank like you, Perk, and they can go pick up the exact same card, but in a BGS slab or an SGC slab, graded a 10, graded a 9.5, for literally half the cost, sometimes 1/3 of the cost of a PSA 10. Yeah, look, you you're better off picking up that card because
Yeah,
you're just paying for the premium that is PSA. And I
yeah.
say this, why is PSA considered the best or the gold standard or the industry standard? It's because they were first. And like in cryptocurrency, I liken it to Bitcoin's always considered the best because it was the first. And it's
That was
similar.
it.
It's
Yeah.
similar with PSA. Now these other grading companies have come up and up, and based off sales, there's things like saying, the most recent sales of things over the past 3 months, 70% of the sold cards are PSA. Well, that's because everyone hypes up PSA so much that everyone just continues to grade with them because their graded cards are worth more. It doesn't mean that the actual card inside that case is actually better than the one
A
that you can
BGS.
get
Yeah.
as a BGS or a SGC. It's not proven. There's people that have, done crossovers and things and done crossovers from SGC to PSA and got bad. Got crossovers from SGC to PSA to SGC, as testing and not got the same results. So you don't know what you're going to get on any given day because all of these are all graded by a human. And like anything that's done by a human, it's potential for errors. And that's what happens. And I just keep saying you can't just say that PSA is the best. For what
You
reason?
can't.
For why? And that's why we asked Perk, if PSA is the best, please come on here and tell us why PSA is the best. Like, PSA is only the best because they were the first. Uh, and that's just the way it is. They've got the
And the other,
monopoly in the
yeah,
market at
yeah,
the moment because they were the first. They've been around the longest. And not for
yeah.
anything, you got a bunch of people who just continually push the PSA narrative because it fits with what they've been doing for many years.
Yeah.
So, look,
The concern is like these companies now, these grading companies, using their leverage. Because let's be honest, they've made so much more money now than they've ever made in their life because of the hobby.
yep.
Using their company, it's good marketing. Don't get me wrong, it's a good marketing strategy, but it's not good for the prices of cards if they're going to start marketing their product with celebrities, and whether they pay them or not, you get a celebrity saying, "Oh, buy this, buy that, blah 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 blah." And this is one thing that we love about Gary V in the hobby. He's never once said, "Well, we'll use it as this," like discriminated against a different
Look,
grading company.
yes, he has
He
said
buys
multiple.
across the yeah,
He has said that PSA, is the shit. I'm not gonna lie, but he's also not gone out and discredited that he wouldn't. He has bought other grading company stuff. So, you know, whereas Perk's just come out and saying, well, if it's not PSA, then essentially it's not worth anything, or it's junk.
yeah. The other
Essentially,
concern, like other people are just saying, yeah, he's just in the hobby. He's going to have no effect. But the problem is, you don't want this to be a flow-on effect of like he's the first celebrity basketball, and then you get all these other retired guys that are in the hobby, whether it's NFL or basketball, and they're like known personalities of the sport start coming out, and PSA have this freaking marketing campaign. They got 20 uh, legends of the sport. Perk is a good player, probably not Hall of Famer, but you know what I'm saying, like well-renowned figures,
Hall
and
of
they come
Famer.
out.
What the?
No, I said he's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah. Well, you shouldn't even.
No.
You shouldn't even thought that, mate. There's no chance that guy's getting
Yeah,
into the Hall of Fame.
but what I'm saying is like if they start getting these guys iconic people that people know because they're in because Perk's on TV, he's a
Yeah, he's on
broadcaster.
ESPN.
So if you start getting these people to start saying these certain things, man, it can really hurt grading companies like a lot. It could just push everything to PSA, and then you get nothing at BGS and SGC. And you know
And not for
the
anything,
other
ladies and
thing
gents,
will
that
laugh
is
at
not
you.
good for the hobby.
Yeah,
If
we'll
everything
laugh.
goes PSA's way, that is
Yeah,
not good for the hobby. It
yeah,
monopolizes them as a grading company. And there's word that they are trying to control pop reports, and there is word that not word, but proven fact that you can see that cards that they were grading earlier days, especially cards of like Luka Doncic and Zion, when they were grading them earlier, when the first ones were getting sent in, getting 10s, that now similar cards of that same quality are being sent in are now getting 9s and not getting 10s. So
It's a fine line, very fine line
you
that
ought to be
people are
careful because you're
treading
giving
on
them
in
a
this
lot of
market.
power, and a lot of power means potential more manipulation, which means that the end consumer, when you're buying these cards, you're going to be buying a hyperinflated card, and if it doesn't work out for you, well, you're going to be left out of pocket a hell of a lot of money, and you're going to be left with
100%.
a
Yeah.
plastic cased card that you've paid potentially 5x or 6x more than what it really is worth.
That's the problem. So just be wary with that. And like we say, you just got to do your research, but this stuff doesn't help. Another thing as well, which is massive for the hobby, we're all sport on this, but we do speak a bit of trading cards, and obviously Pokemon is probably biggest next to sport. But Logan Paul, during the week, made a substantial investment in some Pokemon cards. It's just a matter of time before like more celebrities like this start coming out and saying that they're doing it. As we've seen, like basketball players have said, like Giannis collects his own cards and so on, so forth. But YouTubers and stuff, as you know, Logan's got a massive following,
Cult following.
cult following, man. And the problem is, like, it's good. I'm super happy for someone like Logan that's jumped into the hobby, and man, like you can afford to buy those first edition cards. By all means, man, go out and get it. It's a great investment. But the problem is, as we've said with Gary V in the past, they're not the problem. It's their fans that think, oh, if these people are buying it, then we can inflate the price to make a buck. A lot of the time, people that do this actually aren't even in the hobby. They see it as like, oh, this is a trend. I'll just flip it now and make some money. And they give no shits about anybody that has been in the hobby and made it a credible hobby. You know what I mean? And they've got an income through it by flipping in the past, but not for exorbitant prices, which are 10 times what a card should be worth because someone posted a picture.
Playing with danger.
I'm not blaming the celebrities. I'm blaming the way people perceive celebrities to make their posts. They think, oh, it's worth this much now. No, you can't go and put the price on that. If the market value is this, you can't say as a fan, oh, we're going to raise it by double. Well, it doesn't make sense. It's just stupid. It's just, but
you know
yeah,
what,
celebrities
Dom,
not the
it's got to
problem
be
with that
up
stuff.
to it's got to be up to the people who go and press buy on those cards. You as people in the hobby, regardless, whether it be when Gary V posts or when in this case Logan Paul's getting into Pokemon cards, you need to be smarter because what can happen, like when what's happened now with basketball, and when Gary V posted about Kevin Durant Topps card,
people lost their minds.
Will now, if you bought during that time when he posted about it and they hyped up crazy, you would now be potentially out of pocket. You were essentially down somewhere like 150%, maybe 100, somewhere between 80 to 150% down on that peak price that you could have potentially paid to now buying it today, and you will have been burnt. So, I mean,
you got to remember the
be
market's
smarter.
starting to regulate itself a little bit now, man. So don't be stupid by falling into
Don't
traps.
fall into those sheep traps, as we like to say.
It's not even traps by the celebrities. It's just traps by your own, like by the sheep, like Saucy's saying, the followers. They think they can do things like this, and man, and like looking into it way too much in the scope is like people think, oh yeah, but like Sauce said, it's people that are buying it that are raising the prices. But what's to say that you have someone that's really wealthy and they upbid, like she'll bid a card to get it to a certain point. That person's got 15 of that card. He's like, yeah, you know what? I've purchased it for $1,400, but now I've raised the price across the board for that card, and I'll sell my other 15 and I'll make back the money that I've raised it on the first purchase, and the rest is all double the profit.
Yeah.
That's what people are doing.
You need
Wake
to
up
be
a bit.
smarter, and you got to
We see
remember
it.
that there's
We're
there's
telling
there's
you. This
there's
is what
people
people are
in this
doing.
that have got money, yeah. So I wouldn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
be surprised if if someone goes out there and be like, oh, I'm sitting on 20, 20 Charizard cards from base set 1999, and graded somewhere between PSA 7s to PSA 10s, and then he goes out there and maybe shill bids, or maybe buys one or two of them legitimately at a higher price.
Mate, people go look at that stuff. They go look at 130 point for last
Yeah,
sales and
and
recent sales
and they
on
might
card
follow
ladder.
through with that buy, and they're like, all right, I'm going to raise the price. I'm going to pay an extra X amount, but by doing that, I've now raised the price of all these Charizards by $3,000, $4,000. And then I'm just going to go sell my other 20 and pocket a cool, 60K in profit, 80K in profit.
That's what people are doing. This is the dark side of the hobby
Yeah,
where people are doing shit like this, but it's actually happening. So this is what we're trying to educate you and teach you, that you got to be vigilant, be wary when you're looking at these things, man. And as we said, we have spoken to Big Boy, and definitely a guy to follow if you're trying to see people that shill beard, and he's really good at educating people on what to look out for, and we will get him once again to explain it when we do our special pod. So that's pretty much it for Hobby Talk. We just wanted to touch on that perk thing and how it could hurt with grading companies trying to market their grading company as the best. So, yeah, interesting times ahead, man. There's always a new thing happening every week with trading
yeah.
cards. So watch this space with that, because I reckon it could be a flow-on effect now. It's not just a one-off thing. So I reckon there could be a fair few more people coming out and
Yeah,
doing that stuff on the
look,
PSA.
we're already seeing it. I'm
So
seeing it. I'm envisioning it, to be honest.
yeah.
Um,
So wait and see, mate.
yeah, look, I
Uh,
don't like it, Dom. As I said, I don't like
no,
it.
no,
I don't
I
like
don't
it.
either. It's just
It's
stupid.
trying to monopolize the market.
Like
It's
we
not
said, we're
healthy
trying to
for
get
the
as many
hobby
people.
by hyping up these PSA cards that
Mate,
are no better than those other grading companies. I mean, obviously, there's spud companies out there that you just stay far, far away from. But you know, the other two that I spoke about, they're more than credible, in my opinion.
mate, yeah, I'm looking at some of those right now. I know you do too. Just have a range.
Just have
Don't
an
just
open
stick.
mind.
Just
Don't
open
be a
mind.
PSA sheep, because
Exactly.
they've got flaws as well.
Yeah,
But
everyone does.
so does the other grading companies.
Yeah, like you said, it's human error, mate. No human's perfect in their grading. If a computer was doing it, it's a different story. We can. That's a discussion for a different
Different
day. The
pod, mate.
computer was.
That's another for a different pod
Yeah,
where I could ramble on about how they could use AI tech and potentially
mate.
as I've said, the
We'll do it
company that
next
does
week.
that first, they are going to be the most successful.
Hobby talk next week. We'll get you into it, mate. All right, coming up next, the most anticipated segment. I know it's been a tough one
It's a
for you this
tough
week.
one this week, man.
Sauceys Smokey coming up next. Stay tuned. Oh, we're back. The most anticipated segment of the show, Saucy Smokey. What do you got for us, mate?
All right, Domma. It was a tough one this week. I haven't really been active on the purchases. I was a little bit more last week. Actually, made a couple of errors of judgment. Could have saved myself maybe 100 or $150 by buying those cards that I bought last week, this week. But that's the way the cookie crumbles in the hobby.
That's it. That's the hobby, mate.
So I sort of stayed off the buying, but the one thing I am going to give you is the guy which I've. There's been few rookies that I've been picked up from this season, um, and try to potentially see where their growth can be next season. And when I look at the rookies, I like to look at guys that are in teams where they're going to get minutes, they're going to get exposure, they're going to get playing time, and not for anything, we've seen glimpses that they could have potential going forward um, into next season, right? So, um, the guy I'm talking about, and look, we're gonna give the we're gonna give his most common card in a sense, which is the PSA, his prison base PSA 10, which is just the standard
Yeah.
junk wax card that everyone goes for. Um, so look, the guy I'm talking about is he plays for the Detroit Pistons. Is none other than Sekou Doumbouya. And people are going to be like, oh, this. Why would you pick this guy? Look, like many people, he showed glimpses that he has potential. I really, really like his size and just his length, and that size that he sits at, which is, I think, you know, what is he? He's 6'8", got a big wingspan. Um, he can shoot the three. I mean, obviously he needs to improve his statistics on his first season, but he's a rookie. I think he's going to improve in the off season, and he could come out next season potentially average that 15, 18 points, which then we'll see the the third year. Sort of by your third and fourth year, that's where you want to see that big growth. So, but there was enough there this season, and his size and his interesting stature, his athleticism was obvious. So I like him. I like him, and in that Detroit team, he's going to get minutes. That's a
Yeah.
trash team. They're building for the future. I mean, I could see them in soon enough trading away Blake Griffin and some of those older guys that they've
Well,
picked
D
up on
D
good
Rose is
contracts
going to
and
go.
stuff.
Yeah.
So they're building for the future. Sekou Doumbouya, don't forget, ladies and gents, he's 19 years old. 19. And not for anything, he came from Europe where he was putting up absolute numbers over there as an 18, 17-year-old playing against men, which,
Sounds like someone else we know.
we've seen how that turns out for guys that come through, those Euro ranks that play against men 15, 16. They're already playing against seasoned guys. Um, it generally works out pretty good for them. So I like him. I like him. I will just get something up here, Domma. Let me just let's try a bit of something new. Let's switch over to this one. Oh, here we go. We've upgraded
Oh, yep.
on the live stream.
Oh, here we go.
Bang! Now we're talking.
He loves it. He loves it live.
Now we're talking, and we're talking him. We're obviously thanking Card Ladder for providing these
Of course.
beautiful graphs for us. We're talking about Sekou Doumbouya, base Prism PSA 10 card. Pop report 593. That is nothing. But guys, don't. That's going to rise a hell of a lot because when you take that into retrospect, I think there's like 10,000 graded Zion. And Zion's the same set, so you got to think there's potentially 10,000 or more Sekou base out there. But at a point where a few months ago these were going up, over the $100 mark, and now it's sort of balanced out and leveled out around the $100 to 80 mark, $80 to $100 mark. You might be able to pick one up on bids and secure yourself a card that I see a guy who's only 19 years old and has a lot of growth in him. So there's that. You can also go for his Silver Prism, which is a fan favorite in the hobby. And those aren't going for a hell of a lot when you talk about Silver Prisms, in a sense. So, I was still under the 300 price range. Last sold 265. sort of leveling out over the last 2 weeks. And yeah, so I'm going to go with Sekou Doumbouya. For the record, I've got a whole bunch of Sekou Doumbouya. I bought Colours, Prism. I bought, I bought Coloured Prism. I bought Prism Base. I bought Select cards. Might even try to pick up an auto or two, one of his higher auto cards. Now that the market's sort of on a bit of a dip. But
Good
yeah,
call.
I like Sekou. I just think there's potential, and I watched his highlights. I went and watched his highlights and stuff coming out of the Euro, where he's played against men, and there was times where he lit it up from three, and he just shows potential. And sometimes that's what you got to look for, and I'm looking for a guy that's going to get minutes, because it's all good. You might be talented, but if you're on a team where you sit on the bench and only get 10 minutes, how are people going to see you play? And how's that going to give you the exposure for people to go, oh, I want to buy and collect this guy? So
Definitely.
that's where I'm at. I mean, he averaged, I think, 19 minutes in his rookie season, and I think that improves. I'll potentially see him averaging somewhere between 24 to 27 minutes next season, and hopefully he improves. He's got talent. He's got talent. It's just a matter of whether he can put the pieces together, and whether he's a coachable talent. But these guys that come from overseas, as we've seen with Giannis and some of the other guys with Luka, and they got things to prove. They want to prove that they can come over to America and make an impact. So let's hope. I think he's from France, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Let's hope he can, make an impact moving forward.
Bloody oath. There you go. Sauceys Smokey. Very nice. He's a nice roughie. Could turn out to be something very decent in that team, like you said.
His graded cards are super affordable at the moment.
Yeah, it's good.
Not for anything, even if you don't want to pay for, you can get still a raw card floating around, prison base card for a couple of bucks, maybe $4 or $5, $3, $4, $5, Australian.
Nice.
I've seen them going for, but yeah, so there's potential there to pick up some cheap stuff.
Could be a hidden
I'm just
gem,
saying
mate. Could be
graded
hidden-
card because in my opinion, graded you go off what that sort of graded PSA 10. That I've just said that one because it's not too expensive if you're asking me.
Yeah,
for $120 getting a 10 graded card, it's not that expensive. You might even, if you like Select, go for some Select, because I think you might even be able to get a Select PSA 10 graded rookie of his for maybe even $60 USD or something around that. So, I mean, there's potential to pick up one of his base cards cheap. And if you like him more extensively, then obviously look into his coloured prison variants, Select coloured variants, and his auto cards in some of those sets, like Nor and I think they're bringing out Encased, but Immaculate and National Treasures and the higher ones. But now's the time to get some of these cards because they're at an affordable level. Because if he does take that bump next year, where he improves and brings up that scoring, it will be out of range potentially.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
The way the hobby's going, that's for sure.
Beautiful. Well, there's Saucy Smokey, and there you go. Wraps up our first live pod, mate, which is awesome. So
I mean, a few little hiccups there, Domma. Your screen resized a little bit here and there, but
all good.
We'll fix it up. I think
we've got some interesting things as well coming along with our socials and stuff. Now we've got a few more tricks up our sleeve that we're going to release, some new content type stuff now that we can live stream. It makes it a lot easier for us. So yeah, stay tuned, mate, on the Instagram page and on Twitter, and yeah, look forward to it. Anyway, it's been your boy Domma. Keep living, loving, and breathing sport with your boy Saucy. It's double coverage. Peace out.
Peace out, ladies and gents. Till next week. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcasting app. Also, if you could please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. Don't forget to follow us on socials at DBL_coverage_ on both Instagram and Twitter to join in with your opinions.